We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport. Welcome to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here at my farm. Yeah,
it's awesome.
So we've got an action-packed show.
Oh my gosh, John, it's been intense.
Yeah, we've got Hannah Sue Hollberg, we've got Lynn Symansky, we've got some girl named Elisa Wallace,
right?
Who you sort of know, and then the incomparable Lucinda Green.
Correct. And what we're going to do is have a really good show talking about Lucinda's techniques, her being here for a clinic at your farm, and some FEI changes, our sport as a whole. And I think all of y'all out there, watch the whole show, because Lucinda caps it off at the very end with a really question we all need to ponder for our sport.
Totally. And the other thing I would just say is, to those who are listening on the podcast, first of all, give us a review at the bottom, which helps us out a ton with the show, get more traction. But also make sure you guys go check it out on YouTube, because there's going to be some great video of the clinic that Joel took. And if you listen to it on the podcast, you're going to get so much out of it. But if you go watch it, you're going to get even more out of it on YouTube. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out on Facebook, all your podcast players, and it really helps the show a ton.
What a great thing to say, because it is. There's some great footage. Joel, thanks for making the trip here. And
one more thing. We are going to have, and we'll talk about this more in the next show, we do have a great promotion at Kentucky.
Oh, that's right. We're going to get Kentucky shirts.
Yeah, so there's going to be 100 Kentucky shirts. They're going to be given out, pretty sure, at I Love My Horse.
Right.
And you guys, fans of the show, go get the t-shirts from I Love My Horse. Uh-huh. You get them signed by as many competitors in the 4 or 5 star at Kentucky. The person who gets the most autographs
gets to be on the show.
Gets to come on the show.
I think that's cool. So you can't sign the shirts yourself for these riders. You have to make sure, and we will go with the shirt and verify each signature.
Wow, okay. That's going to be a big job.
We're going to have you do that.
All right, super. So you guys hang tight. We're going to check in with some of our sponsors, and we are going to be right back with some amazing guests.
Yeah.
Want to advertise on the John and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622.
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
EquiBrew, now available in the USA. It's a live probiotic that you feed daily to your horses. The live microbes go into your horse's gut and cleans up the gut wall, creating a healthy gut system.
EquiBrew is an essential part of my feeding program. My horses love to eat it, and it does a really good job of promoting gut health and also good behavior and great performances.
It's something I recommend for all of your horses, no matter what they do in their careers.
It's so affordable, I can use it on all of my horses in the barn, not just my top horses.
Order EquiBrew today by going to brickfieldnutrition.com or calling 850-879-2649.
Hey, it's John here. I just want to let you guys know I got back from schooling at Magnolia Sands Farm here in Ocala, Florida. The cross-country field is perfectly suited for a first outing on a young horse or schooling your upper-level horse. Magnolia Sands offers over 110 jumps ranging from starter to intermediate, plus multiple banks, ditches, and waters. They're constantly updating their courses and have even added new ditches and a starter ditch wall. Conveniently located in Northeast Ocala, Magnolia Sands has made it easy for riders and trainers with online waivers, Venmo, and PayPal, and even offer a golf cart for guests. MagnoliaSandsFarm.com.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are here with Lucinda Green. Everybody knows who you are, and you are amazing. You are here at the Halling Eventing Farm, Willow Run.
Yep.
Thank you, John, for having us. And Lucinda, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. We appreciate you coming and doing these great clinics. I think this clinic, you have a total of 4 or 5 5-star riders in your clinic. So that's fantastic.
Well, thanks very much to you, Rick and John, for giving them the confidence or the kick up the backside to come, because we do have a really, really fun and interesting time, and we do come at things from a little bit of a different angle. And I think it's one that needs to be experienced, because I think we've all got to work out how best to give our horses the opportunity to have their own initiative and think for themselves, as well as absolutely listening to us. And that is really quite a paradox of opposite requirements.
Yeah, and I would say, like, as somebody who, obviously I rode with you when I was younger, I rode with you last year, and then I begged you to come back again this year. And the whole point is, and like when I talk to my students that I encourage to ride with you, I say, look, it's going to be a lot of different things that I wouldn't say the same way, but it complements so much what we do. And a lot of it, I think, for what it's worth, is about kind of putting me as a rider in uncomfortable spots that I don't know what's going to happen. I have to react. I have to have instincts. And I think, like with my second horse today, the Dress My Style horse, that's so much what that horse needs, because he is a bit more of a show jumper, like we talked about. And you set stuff up, and I want to ask you, like, what's the number going to be there? And I know better, but I want to know. And it's so helpful for me with that horse to have to get him and me thinking more quickly.
Yeah, you've put a very good finger on what we do. We don't do big, don't need to do big, but what we do all the time is try to develop 2 things. We try to develop the communication system between you and your horse, which is absolutely crucial, because the horse must trust you, then he can trust himself, and then you can trust him. And it's a triangle of trust that we're always developing. And we're not developing it by putting perfect striding. We're not developing by putting fences anywhere we like that are 1.20 meters. They're small, they're awkward, they're difficult, the angles required. And most importantly, you as a rider being able to get your horse to look exactly where you want. And that is a skill that we all need to learn. And we're not going to learn it by going on the perfect 5 round the corner to that.
Right.
But nothing's big, and I think that is important. It's difficult.
Well, and it also, I would say, and I think this is just sort of information for people who are thinking, when Lucinda's in town, do I want to ride with her? Whenever I ride in a clinic, my biggest concern is my horse going to be tired after 2 days? And I would say it was actually very low reps. We didn't put a ton of jumps on their legs, and yet they got so much out of it. I mean, I just was very impressed with that. And that's, kudos to you that you can teach the horse and the rider without having to do it 17 times.
Well, that's lovely. Yes, I do have a thing that it is the first time that matters. I don't really like doing something a second time, because then other problems come in, because the horse knows where he's going. So we don't get it right first time. We make mistakes, but we learn that. And the next time we'll use those reactions, and John put his finger on it, that this is sharpening the reactions of you and of your horse. And together, that forms the most wonderful bond of communication.
Yeah, and I think the great thing, Lucinda, that you have accomplished with your clinics is you're really, really keen on the riders being able to hear you. So your packs that you've gotten with your earpieces for the riders, and you're there for them the whole time. And I think that's really important. And not only that, you make sure that the people auditing has a speaker so they can hear you, because I learn more and more each time you come. This is probably the 5th time you've been here. And just, I think to John's point, you do put them in safe, uncomfortable positions in which they can have a mistake but not get in trouble per se, but they're able to work out how they can get out of that trouble. And what is the 3 things that you've been saying all week It's
Clear. You must be clear and fair and consistent.
See, I
and
love
those
that.
are three very simple words that I've only started developing a few months ago. I just pick you up on what you said, that you learn something every time I come. I have to say, so do I. And I think that's the wonderful thing about teaching. You're always learning, and I'm sure you find it. You get to a point in your life where you think, I must know a bit now. Somebody comes along and you realise that you still have so much left to learn, which is the absolute fascination of horses through and through, not just teaching. There's always something that you don't know, and you learn it.
And that kind of segues into, I mean, we've had conversations. You have a lot of conversations with John. John's on the safety committee for the FEI. There's a lot of changes in our sport. I think you asked me on the way over here, what do you think the future of eventing is? And I didn't have an answer. I mean, I had something that I was saying, maybe the championships are different from the 5 stars. But John, you and Lucinda have some conversations, and I think we should pick up on a few that you two can carry on the show.
The conversation that, this is what is so wonderful about this sport. I thought I understood that the yellow MIM clips, which is put on fences that are at angles, corners and the like, would be better off if they were hit as straight as possible. And I was teaching out there saying, this is how I think you should jump the corner if you've got a yellow MIM clip, which you're going to have. And John, thankfully, on the safety committee with, is it David Voss?
Yeah, David Voss.
The
Yep.
scientist
It's
who-
the risk management steering group. It's not really the safety committee.
sorry.
But
Yes,
for all argument's sake, it is a safety committee.
So
but yeah.
tell us about the angle
The
you
yellow
should be jumping
MIMs.
the corner in order not to knock it down with a yellow MIM.
Well, so first disclaimer, I'm no engineer. I'm only going off of what I'm told, but it does make sense. So if you think about the way, this is just for MIM systems, the way a MIM fence works, it has hinges. The hinges only work going away from you or towards you, right, in a straight line. That's just any hinge. It's not a multi-directional thing. It hinges one direction. So with the red clips, that's meant for like Oxers, single upright rails that are fairly wide, that when you hit it perpendicular, it releases a certain force. If you angle across a fence, a log, let's say, for example, or a rail, even if it's not a corner, if you angle across that rail and you were to hit it, some of the force that would normally activate that fence is actually going diagonally into the hinge. So it's being dissipated into the hinge and therefore into the post, and it's not going to activate as easily. So the answer for that was we need to come up with a lighter fuse, which is the yellow clip. The yellow clip activates at a lesser force. So if you take that forward to a corner, they're meant, a corner, like we were talking about, to traditionally be jumped by bisecting the angle and jumping that imaginary center line. If you cheat it and jump back into the open side of a corner and you hit it with yellow clips, which all corners will have at FEI, you actually will activate that rail more easily because the force won't be dissipated into the hinge. It'll go directly into both the yellow clips. So when you're sort of what I call cheating, jumping back into the corner a little bit to stay safe and you don't risk the run out, you do risk, if your horse touches it, which happens on cross country because it's not show jumping, you risk activating that fence more easily.
So did I understand that the more acute the angle you take the yellow pin, the less likely it is
Correct.
to fall down? Now, that's the bit I can't get my un-engineering head round.
I think he was, if I could help, he was saying if you have the corner post at an angle, that yellow MEMS, what I understand, is it takes more shock into the barrier pole.
Into the post, because
Into the post.
the hinge still just activates going directly away from the rail. So if you hit it on an angle, the force that you hit that rail
It goes
with
into the post.
goes into the post. So you have less, it takes more force. It basically, for all intents and purposes, it takes more force to knock down a rail diagonally
Than it does.
perpendicularly.
Right.
And if you take that to show jumping, Lucinda,
Yeah, 100%.
when you have an upright vertical that's very light in the cups in show jumping, I don't know if you ever do it, but sometimes
Yeah.
I'll come in and say, we should jump that on a bit of an angle because it'll bang into the cup.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
theory. Don't forget your...
Right, I'm going to have to go and think about that one. I don't know whether all of our watchers have got it, but it's a very interesting thing, this going from red to yellow, because
But
they fell down to a penny at Tokyo. Unfortunately, that 8 people the fence fall down, including the one who should have won the gold medal,
Well,
Michael Young.
And obviously, there's always going to be discussion and argument and you want to watch videos and things. And the one thing that I can say, I personally know the guy who was standing at that fence, and every single time that fence got touched, they replaced the clips.
I know that too. Yeah.
So whether we feel this, and this is the thing that I think we have to get around in our head, whether we watch it and feel like, ooh, that shouldn't have fallen or not, scientifically, they hit it hard enough to knock it down.
Yeah.
And it's not a show jump pole. It is like so much more force to knock down.
Yeah, well, that's...
So when David Voss was on, 2 months ago?
David Voss is the scientist,
Yes,
isn't he,
and he
that
was on our
runs
show.
risk management.
Correct.
Yeah.
And
So we should move on from there, because we could go around forever in that, shouldn't we? And we were talking about the dumbing down of the cross country, but wanting to retain the cross country as the key of the sport, because we're not here to do dressage and show jumping. We understand we've got to be very good at both those, but the reason we've come eventing is because we love cross country, and we hope that we can train our horses to love it as much as us. But gradually, bit by bit, because of all the safety things, the dumbing down is happening. Cross country is less and less the lifeblood of eventing. So how are we going to deal with this?
Well, I think it's a tough question, isn't it? And I don't have the answers myself. I think you probably have more of the answers than I do. I don't know.
Well, I think one of the things, John, you were having the discussion in with Elisa, Lynn, and Hannah, and that's about this new 7 penalties score for a flag to make it more substantial for cross country, or would it make it less? I mean, what would happen? Is it more that you cause the flag to be, is that the reasoning to make cross country more influential by making the flag a 7-point rule?
So, again, I can only speak to sort of my understanding of it, and it hasn't become a thing.
It's a proposed rule.
Where it started, quite honestly, was that right now, if you activate a frangible fence, you get 11 penalties.
Correct.
If you hit a flag and they deem that, okay, you hit the flag, but you didn't really go through it, so we're going to give you a penalty for it, you get 15. To me, that never made sense.
Right.
If you knock down a fence, that certainly should be more costly than a flag. So the discussion rather started with, should there be less of a penalty for a flag? And I think resoundingly the answer was, yeah, that makes sense. It should be more to knock down a fence than a flag. Then the next question, which is currently being debated, is, okay, so then if we want to make it more black and white, should it just be, if you knock down a flag, there's no discussion. You still would have the debate of, did you actually jump the fence? Right?
There we
so
go.
there is
That
always going to be a
needs
line,
to be in
absolutely. But if you get a flag and it's deemed you did make an effort, should it just be black and white, you get a penalty? My argument right now, and again, I'm open to whatever because I don't have the answers, but my argument right now is this could be one way that we make cross country more influential again.
So I do have a question. I have a question then. So let's say, I'm not opposed to it. You know, some people are like, no.
Right.
I understand the concept, but when we went back to the debate of not making, like we are now, like you didn't get your shoulders and body through the thing. What penalty is for, not the 7, you get the 7 automatically, but if you don't get through it and you're deemed not through it, what do you get?
That's what the question would be.
Okay.
I don't have the answer to that right now.
It's in discussion.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is.
Yeah, no, but it's good to be in discussion. It bothers me because you are in charge of a half-ton of an animal and you've trained him as well as you possibly can, and he's trying to get you out of trouble at a certain fence, and he just moves that little bit to the side to squeeze over the corner, let's say, and he just takes the flag out with your knee, probably. I don't want really my sport ruled by my horse being clever and just doing a little bit of extra room to get the jump. That's the bit I'm a little worried about. In the good old days, almost before I started, and that was a long time ago, there was 2 penalties for taking the flag out, and I wonder who can remember that, who's in the modern committees running the sport. But by the time I came in, which was probably the late 60s, that's a hell of a long time ago, that had gone. So it's interesting that
Well, I guess
full circle.
The last thing I would leave it with is this, and this is how it was explained to me when I was trying to be sort of in discussion about it. You and I are at an event. We're tied after dressage. We go out cross country. You jump a flawless round. Beautiful, absolute perfection, Lucinda Green. I go out. I knock down 5 flags at 5 corners, but I finish in time.
So you
We
win.
both jumped double clears. But I'm closer to optimum time. Should I win or should you win? Because I had 5 flags at corners. My horse barely jumped them. You jumped them flawlessly.
Yeah, put like that, it's a very, very good point.
And before we leave this segment, you just brought up a good point. Why do we have 0.4 for every second? Why don't we make it more substantial, like a penalty?
Sure.
I mean,
Yes.
we went from show jump 1 penalty for each second over to 0.4, which reduced your seconds over. But I think we should increase your penalties for cross country for being over. And look, the argument's going to go, well, that will make people go faster. Well, I'm only talking about levels up further, right?
I think that's another thing into the mix. It's a very good point, because somehow, and I'll leave this lovely gathering saying somehow we have got to keep cross country king.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to keep it the lifeblood of the sport. Otherwise, we're just second-rate dressage. I'm sorry, however good you are, second-rate dressage and second-rate show jumping.
Absolutely. Well said.
Well, thanks. And we're going to continue some more segments here with the John and Rick Show. We'll see who's coming next with us.
All right. Thanks, Lucinda.
Thank you.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique allows him to identify and alleviate tightness in muscles. He uses trigger point massage to release points of restriction. Grant has over a decade of experience fitting and adjusting a wide variety of saddles. His expertise in equine physiology, coupled with a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle, allows him to quickly identify and correct any balance issues. Grant can also adjust your saddle on site. Grant works on all of my competition horses, and I have noticed a significant improvement in their performance at competitions and their overall way of going. Grant's based in Ocala, Florida year-round, but regularly travels to the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Hi, my name's Leslie Law, and we are a proud supporter of Jump for Joy. We've been using their portable cross-country jumps now for about 10 to 15 years. We love these jumps because, as you can see, they're very easy to move. I would only take another person on the other side, and I could place this fence wherever I wanted to very easily.
Equibrew, now available in the USA. It's a live probiotic that you feed daily to your horses. The live microbes go into your horse's gut and cleans up the gut wall, creating a healthy gut system.
Equibrew is an essential part of my feeding program. My horses love to eat it, and it does a really good job of promoting gut health and also good behavior and great performances.
It's something I recommend for all of your horses, no matter what they do in their careers.
It's so affordable, I can use it on all of my horses in the barn, not just my top horses.
Order Equibrew today by going to brickfieldnutrition.com or calling 850-879-2649.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and really exciting, we are in our new Equibrew segment, so thank you to Equibrew.
Great. Equibrew is a great live probiotic, and I hope to get Lynn started on it after this show.
You should try your horses on it too.
She both can benefit.
Right, absolutely. So we are super excited to
She's
have
like, what?
Lynn Symansky here. So Lynn, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. So you're here for the Lucinda Green Clinic.
I am.
You are, which is how we roped you into this whole
Yeah,
thing.
okay. Yeah, I know. I didn't have an option, I don't think, to
No,
be
you
here.
didn't.
Here I am.
Yeah, it was great. So first of all,
She's a newbie.
What horse did you bring?
I bought a horse called a Bounce 6, and he's an exciting up-and-coming horse. He'll be going to his first 3 long in a few more weeks here in Ocala, owned by Alice Loetz and Linda Graves.
And so I've heard a little bit of the story, but just so everybody, these guys obviously did not. How long have you had him? Where'd you get him?
Yeah, I got him a few years ago as a young horse. He actually was a homebred of Sandra Osfart in Germany.
I like how you got through that.
I think he's going to be a really special horse. He's quite spooky, quite careful, but he's just coming into his own, and I'm excited for his future. And this was a great opportunity for a horse of any level. But
I can tell you personally, when I saw the horse, he was spooky the first day, and today he settled in. He's really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I really, some of the stuff that you were doing was amazing. And so my question to you, it's your first Lucinda Green clinic. What do you think? We talked to her a bit about what she does to make you uncomfortable? How do you feel that helps you? It's kind of, you wouldn't put yourself into that position, and then you do, and then you're like, wow, I can get out of that.
Because it's hard to really make me uncomfortable.
This is probably
We can try.
No, I mean, I've watched her teach over the years, and I think to better yourself as a horseman, there's nobody you can't keep learning from,
right.
On what works, what doesn't work, and stuff to take home. And I brought this one because I thought it would fill in some gaps of what he needs to see. And I thought it was great. And it does push you out of your comfort zone, even if it's not something that's too tough. You just,
sure.
And you bring it back. It's good to get a little freshen up, for yourself, for your
right.
students, exercises you're setting up. So I think it's important, whether you're riding or auditing, to, you can't ever stop learning.
Definitely. That's a good line.
So you've got Bounce. What are the other horses you have in your stable? So is he your top horse right now?
Yeah, no, I have one we're trying to figure out some weird stuff on. Actually, I was supposed to go to Kentucky this spring. Another one that coming up through the levels, he did a 3-long at Tryon this fall. His name is Idafix von Kribbelheve. I think I said that right.
You got a mouthful of names.
Yeah, if you get good at mumbling things, then you can usually pass it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark Phillips would be.
Yeah.
He would be in.
I learned
as
it
well.
from him.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hand gestures too.
Yeah.
Some young ones coming up the rope as well. So
do you go to Terra Nova next?
I actually don't. I came down a little late this year compared to some of you guys, and so it's funny. It just takes me a little bit longer to get going, and I actually am going to stay local. I went to Ocala last weekend, right. And I'm just going to go on vacation next week while you guys are all at Terra Nova. I've been there. It is an amazing facility. Yep. It is incredible. So, I've encouraged every single person I've seen to go because I've seen the grounds, I've seen the course. It's great. So I'm really excited about having that in our spring calendar.
Yeah, John and I came down here and just never left.
Yeah. I think
we're always here.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think it's going to be really hard to ever get me out of Virginia. But, when people say, I don't know how they live down here full time, the summers are awful. Our summers are terrible in Virginia.
And we have an air-conditioned World Equestrian Center to go ride
I know.
in.
I don't have that. So you guys got it better now.
To that point, I remember when I first started, I would go to Virginia for the summers, right? And we would stay actually at Jan Binney's place.
Yeah.
And then we rented a barn across the street from her. And I'll never forget the first year I got there, the ground was so hard and it was so hot. And people like you said to me, this is such a weird year. Like normally the ground's beautiful. And I was like, oh, okay. So we swam the horses instead of galloping and got to Fair Hill and did our thing. And the next year I went back and the ground was really hard. It was so hot. And they said, oh, this is a really weird year. Normally the ground's beautiful. It's never this hot.
It's called ozone layer.
So the third year in a row I went up there and I finally looked at whoever it was. We were at, what is it? I think it was Red Feather at that point, or the Red, whatever that pub that everybody goes to.
The Red Horse.
The Red Horse, right.
Yeah, Magpies, right.
Yeah, Magpies is what it was when I was there. And they said it to me and I'm like, you know what? You guys are either delusional or you're liars.
Yeah, we're just trying to get you guys all up into our...
It's sort of like I tell people the summers aren't so bad. They're terrible.
Yeah. No, they are. They are terrible here, but if you've ever been in the humidity up in Virginia or Pennsylvania that time of year, they're not that much worse than down here sometimes.
No, and the ground down here is beautiful.
Yeah.
It stays soft all the time.
Yeah.
Also, we have more pools.
You do, but you got to take care of them a lot.
That's okay. You just actually.
There's people for that.
There's people for that, which I need to get to advertise on our
Horse
show.
Country, they're doing my pool now.
See?
It's a great deal.
Yeah.
They come in every week. It's like $50, and I don't have to worry about it. And then I just show up, and my pool is like an oasis.
Pristine. Hey guys, we're going to come talk to you about.
Come
this
on.
plug.
Do you use it a lot? Should we see your farmer's tan under there?
I mean, it's been off season.
Yeah,
he rides without a shirt.
I do.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Ladies.
It's funny when that starts, the attendance at my farm goes way down.
Yeah.
I always get after him. I'm like, that doesn't look very professional.
That's fine. I'm not very professional, so it's all good.
So your plan then is Ocala? 3 long.
Yes. I
And
go
then-
to Ocala and then I go back up home.
So you do go home.
I do go home
You're gonna
eventually.
go to Kentucky, though. I did hear you say you might be commentating at Kentucky.
Yeah, well, yeah, I
Whatever might happen.
yeah,
'Cause you're so great at it.
I talk a lot.
That's
know.
okay. It's
yeah.
good.
That's why we like having you on.
Yeah.
And I want to put it out there. I think Sinead and Lynn
Have our own show.
To do it together. And an own
We
show.
don't need a competitive podcast.
We don't
Rick.
need that, but we do need you like together laughing and giggling because it's really good.
Yeah, no, we do the little offhand comedy show.
I've seen your show, actually. It is a good show. The last one I saw, I think you were in Miniature Land Rovers.
Oh, yeah, though Hannah was involved in that as well.
So that
yes.
was Sinead's podcast.
Yes.
This was
I think they were just projects. I wouldn't necessarily say podcast.
But she does have a podcast.
She does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Right.
She's really good at it.
Yeah, she's good at it.
Yeah, she's
good at
funny.
it.
I like it
The
when she
gift
like.
of gab.
I like to feel like we actually started Sinead's podcast because we had her on.
We had her
as
on
a
the
guest
show,
host a
and
couple
you
times.
said when I was going to go to Africa or somewhere, you said should Sinead like co-host, and I was like, she's got her own podcast. No,
we don't want competition. She makes us look bad.
Yeah, but you invented her, so you guys should get royalties for the rest of your life.
good
yeah.
I
plan.
like this. You should be my agent.
Yes.
That's good.
I always call her the Chanel model because when she came out of the mud at Rocking Horse that one time, and all those pictures with mud on her, and everything,
Right.
she looked like she was right in a magazine.
She didn't look like that when she came out of the water at Jersey.
Oh, man. That was rough. That was rough. That was a long time
Sinead.
ago.
Yes.
So, any big plans for the fall then?
Oh my gosh, no, because when I make plans, they all go
They go
wrong.
wrong.
So I just
You
like
just-
to
you
go
just-
week by week by week.
Yep, that's
Yep.
a good way to do
That's
it.
what somebody said to me. What 3D are you going to go to? I'm like, look, I'm just trying to get to Terra Nova.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait.
And I think it is. I mean, you break your heart too many times when you set a goal and something goes wrong. And so I think you got to figure out a way to enjoy. You have goals in the back of your head, absolutely, with your team, but you got to enjoy the progression of the horses
Right.
and the week to week stuff, and find a way to get really into that. And the goals are definitely there for sure.
But you just keep them in the
I'm not
back.
telling you yet.
Yeah, no.
Mm-mm.
But
Yeah.
that another
inspirational
question.
stuff.
You went on offbeat safaris with your husband, didn't you?
So no, I didn't actually end up doing this because
Okay.
this is a sore subject in our marriage.
Uh-oh.
So we were supposed to go with Lucinda.
Right?
And I said, I don't really know if I want to go on a riding vacation. I kind of like to not ride when I'm on vacation.
It's really fun.
And so Eric, my husband, had started taking some riding lessons from a polo player friend. And Lucinda was worried that he would not be good enough. So he continued to take more riding lessons. And I had asked how he was doing, and I got the official word maybe he wouldn't be quite up to snuff to run away from the
I cannot believe you
lions
just
and
said that to the entire
tigers.
world.
I know. He doesn't watch this. He'll never see this.
What do you mean? Okay, you have offended a lot of people just now, including us. Everybody
The
watches this.
good news is he's going to be ready for next year, and then I committed to
Good.
doing that.
Good.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we went this year, and we actually were in the same boat with a friend of mine. His partner had never ridden before, and we started in February of last year, and Lucinda did the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be ready. I don't know if he's going to be ready. We got him ready. I put him on my medium pony. He
Yeah.
fell off several times.
Yeah.
When we got to the safari, he was from the Air Force. He had jumped out of airplanes. He strapped on a huge camera in the front and got on a horse, and Lucinda's like, "What are you doing?" He was amazing. He went out there and took shots from the horse and everything.
Really?
So I'm
That's
sure
cool.
Eric.
I
would do
actually
that one.
told him it was because his riding wasn't up to snuff, and Lucinda said no, but really it's because I just kind of wanted to relax and not go and ride.
Well, there you go.
Well, we all need to go, for sure. It's looked amazing.
Well, thanks for being on this segment of our show. We appreciate it. Equibrew appreciates it. I'm going to give you a bottle two bottles.
All
before you
right.
leave.
Cool. Chug them down. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Lynn.
When I'm in the middle of my competition season, it's easy to get behind in my hydration or just feel exhausted. When that happens, I turn to Jumpstart IV Therapy. Jumpstart IV Therapy is a mobile therapy serving the state of Florida. Their team of healthcare professionals are there to help the equestrian athlete feel their best so they can perform their best. Their IV treatment of fluids, vitamins, minerals, and medicines will give you an exclusive advantage on and off your horse. Give them a call at 407-449-0532 or find them on the web at jumpstartivtherapy.com.
Jump for Joy fences are easy to move, lightweight, durable, and low maintenance. So we're out here on the cross country. We just finished over in the show jumping over the Jump for Joy fences. Had a great time schooling over them. They're really nice and easy to move, so we were able to adjust some things and really have the exact school that we needed thanks to the Jump for Joy fences. I love them.
Order yours at jumpforjoyusa.com.
Hey, it's John here. I just wanted to let you guys know I got back from schooling at Magnolia Sands Farm here in Ocala, Florida.
Your cross-country field is perfectly suited for a first outing on a young horse or schooling your upper-level horse. Magnolia Sands offers over 110 jumps ranging from starter to intermediate, plus multiple banks, ditches, and waters. They're constantly updating their courses and have even added new ditches and a starter ditch wall. Conveniently located in Northeast Ocala, Magnolia Sands has made it easy for riders and trainers with online waivers, Venmo, and PayPal, and even offer a golf cart for guests. MagnoliaSandsFarm.com.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are really lucky because, John, we have Hannah Sue Hollberg here.
You got it.
I actually was at your wedding.
Yes, you
It
were.
was beautiful.
Thanks.
Welcome here. You're at the Lucinda Green Clinic. I think I got to contribute you to me first meeting her years ago when you had her come over, and it was fun.
Oh, I introduced you?
I think that's how it worked.
Wow.
I think the keyhole fall off at Naked Horse.
Yes.
was
I jumped the jump.
Before she did
Without the
2019 Jockey Club commentating with me that you love to watch.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
John, what about having her here at your farm?
This is amazing. So yeah, I mean, just so exciting. We've got all these great riders here for the clinic, and Hannah, you came here and you seemed like every time I look at you, you're on a different, better horse. So which horses did you bring?
I rode Capital HIM today, Krista Schmidt's horse that I have taken 5-star, and yesterday I rode Carsonstown, another one that Krista Schmidt
Both cool horses.
owns. Yeah. Really cool. He's new to the 4-star level. And then I have some younger ones. One is called J, just the letter.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then my newest one is called Hachi, and we just bought him from Philip Dutton.
Cool.
So I got a question about J, just the letter. Do you spell it all out? J, just the letter, or?
Actually, it's in like quotations now.
Is it J?
But I want to change it. I got to take the little quotations off.
Just
Yeah.
J.
And then you have to pay the FEI $750.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe we'll just leave them on.
Right. Just leave the quotes. So my question for you is, why? Why do you come here? Why do you want to ride with Lucinda? What's it all about?
So Lucinda, the way she trains and teaches is completely different than kind of how I grew up riding and what I've been kind of training my entire life.
I heard you say that earlier.
Yeah, it's totally different. And I get really comfortable in my riding, and I kind of got into a rut where I wasn't like pushing myself outside my comfort zone, and then I would get to the events and, you know, have a run by, and it just kept happening and happening and happening. And Catherine Coleman actually was like, hey, you should ride with Lucinda. It's really different. It's kind of scary because it's totally different. But I think it'll be really good for you. And I rode with her on a horse called Luke Swell a few years ago.
Yep.
And had a really good experience. But it was like, I mean, completely different than I'm used to. A lot of little jumps, but really difficult lines. And you never walked any of the distances, which is very foreign to me. And
how long did it take you to stop asking her how many strides things were?
Well, she snapped at me pretty hard the first time. I'm a quick learner.
You're a better learner than me because she snapped at me and I was like, okay. So how many strides is it?
What is it?
So we talked about Sinead with Lynn, but I got to bring her back in because she rides with Lucinda too. Mm-hmm. And so we were at one of her clinics and she looked at me and she goes, watch this. So she looked over and she goes, Lucinda, how many strides between there and there again? And Lucinda spun around and then she was just laughing.
Her head blew off.
Yeah. We were laughing at her. Sinead was laughing, so she knew she was just teasing with her, but it was pretty funny.
No, it's cool though. It's totally different, and it's really changed the way that I train, and also my going into events, what my goals are. At the lower levels, I try not to walk any distances at all now.
Right.
And see if I can pull it off. Sometimes it works. No, it does work a lot of times.
That's funny you say that because Briggs, we all have conversations about strides with her all the time. I mean, and so last night Briggs goes, or maybe it was you, somebody asked her, do you not ever walk the line? She goes, oh no, I walk the line.
Right.
But I don't walk that in my head.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really, I think in watching and riding with her over the years, it makes perfect sense. If you have a horse in balance, you're at the right speed in what you're doing. You just take what comes to you when you're going. I think she was frustrated at Carolina, and you haven't seen the live stream.
Right.
Where 4-star riders and 5-star riders are trying to make this certain number fit every single time.
Right.
And it was disrupting the flow where the 7 was there.
Yeah.
or maybe the 6 was there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I understand it because you can throw the horse off balance, and it's interesting. It's hard in your head.
Yeah, for me, I had to kind of go in stages, because just completely forgetting about like the number of something is too big of a jump for me because I count to 10 in show jumping.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm obsessed with it. I love knowing the number. I love doing the number, doing different numbers or whatever. But so at first I was like, okay, I'm going to not walk, from prelim down, see if I can do it like on on good horses or whatever.
Right.
And then. So then that kind of.
So wait, so if I see you walking a distance prelim down, does that mean you're on a bad horse?
Probably.
Okay. All right, just so I know.
No, I do walk now because I've tried something new now. So I'm graduating slowly.
Got it. So you're back into counting.
Well, not counting. So now I walk the distances.
So you know what it is.
And then I try to ride from feel when I'm riding. So I know what the number is, and then I, on course most of the time, I try not to count in the lines.
Sure. I mean, I will say I try to do the same. I haven't gone quite as brave as you with it. I know the number, but I also, when I'm out on cross country, just try to react and ride. But then when I leave the question, I sometimes want to know, like, okay,
I do want to know as well.
And I've seen a huge, and I've known you for a long time. I've seen a huge change in your riding in the last year.
Yeah, I've been trying.
I mean, not that you rode bad before. No. It's just your technique and your aggressiveness is way different than it was last year.
I think it also is so dependent on what you're sitting on and how the horses are going.
That's always true, right?
Yeah.
I think also, like for me, if I'm on a horse I don't know very well, I've actually been braver and not counted. Because it's better for me, like she said earlier, once you start counting, you stop feeling. And it is completely true to me. Like for me, if I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do 7 in this bending line, and I jump in, I'm like 1, 2, 3. And oftentimes, especially when I'm trying to be fast, if I don't count, I'm on 6. I'm way better because I'm not focused on the number. I'm just riding what is possible.
That's so to her point, right?
Which is better for me because otherwise I get a little handsy and slow.
Sure.
So what are your plans for this season? Where are you going?
I'm kind of excited about your plans because they're kind of exciting.
Yeah, I have Capital HIM and Carsonstown going in the 4 short at Kentucky.
Yep.
And then we're going to, hopefully if that goes well, we're going to head to Bramham with both horses.
Sweet.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, I'm really lucky. Yeah, the owners are awesome. So.
And then, so you're going to go to Bramham, you're going to win, and then are you coming back home or will you stay?
So then, well, if it goes well, I'd like to go to the Pan Am, so hopefully I'll come back.
Right. Okay.
So applications are in, everybody. I think those, have they closed yet?
No, not yet. Still time.
Still time to get your applications in. And applications in, I think there are 4 short in Poland and Paris. There's Nations Cups. Did you?
I don't know how I feel about going to a 4 short in Poland.
I know.
I've been to Poland. It's not great.
Well, also, there's neighbors
It's right next to Ukraine.
Yeah, no thanks.
That seems a little, I mean, I'm not
Let's
saying
go to
sorry
Poland.
Everybody in that event, but it just would make me a little nervous.
Yeah, no, me too.
But, it's on the docket. Did you apply for those?
No.
That's funny.
No, I mean, I competed in Mexico too. That was pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So Pan Am, so everybody knows, it's October, Santiago, Chile.
Yeah.
And what we have heard, and Leslie Law has been talking about, but not that you fit into this category, but the horses maybe, that we're able to take the lower string horses, not the top ones, because we already qualified for the Olympics. So it's kind of cool that we can give experience to other horses and riders going to the Pan Am.
For sure.
What's your feeling on that?
Oh, I love that. I think it's so nice that our nation is able to, get some more depth in that way, and hopefully with riders as well that aren't as experienced, and give people a chance instead of sending, the winners of, the top 4.
Which has happened for the 3 last rotations for the Pan Am Games.
Yeah, when we did well at the WEG, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. We have a shot. So it's
that is
nice.
great. So then the fall, you do say Branham goes well. You're going to look at the fall. Is Maryland?
She's going to go to the Pan Ams, Rick.
Oh, that's right. You are.
But
going
that's
to
only
Pan
one
Ams.
horse. What about the others?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that Capital HIM will go to the Pan Ams, and then Carsonstown either will do another 4 long, which I'm not sure what that would be, or Maryland 5-star.
Awesome. Well,
just depending on where he is in his
how he goes.
Sure.
I've made some mistakes like every 4-star I've done on him, so hopefully I can stop doing that.
Clean it up.
Go well. Yeah. So he has a chance to, because he's a really cool horse.
Yeah,
Channel
I like
your
him.
inner Lucinda.
Yeah, I will.
Don't count.
I didn't last time, but my rein slipped. You know, things happen.
Yeah.
But-
Definitely.
Right. I think I
But
do
she
that.
wants you to ride with 4 reins.
Oh my gosh.
Lucinda does.
I
doesn't
know.
she? It's like 4
That's one thing
reins.
I'm not listening to. I'm sorry.
She can't hear you right now.
Love
She's in the
her.
camper.
Love her, but I'm not riding in 2
She
reins
can't
cross country.
typically hear you anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Well, listen, Hannah, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks guys. Thanks
Not
for
that
having
you
me.
actually
Thanks
had
for
a
having
choice.
me at your farm.
Anytime. We love having you. And yeah, so we'll be right back.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique allows him to identify and alleviate tightness in muscles. He uses trigger point massage to release points of restriction. Grant has over a decade of experience fitting and adjusting a wide variety of saddles. His expertise in equine physiology, coupled with a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle, allows him to quickly identify and correct any balance issues. Grant can also adjust your saddle on site. Grant works on all of my competition horses, and I have noticed a significant improvement in their performance at competitions and their overall way of going. Grant's based in Ocala, Florida year-round, but regularly travels to the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Rick Wallace here, bringing you Equibrew, a live probiotic that is geared to help your horse's gut health. I'm a true believer in this Equibrew, and it really makes a difference in all of my horses. Equibrew is safe, non-toxic, and clean sport compliant for FEI and racing events. Equibrew is an intact fermentation product with very high numbers of beneficial microbes. Order at equibrew.com or 850-879-2649.
Welcome back to the John and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are here with the one and only Elisa Wallace. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah, so we're here. We've roped you into it as well. We got everybody else on the show because we made them come to the clinic, and then we had them hostage, and we're able to make them come on the show. We got you double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of always forced to be here.
There's no forcing going on here.
No, none whatsoever.
So I think this last segment that we're going to talk about, we had Lucinda, we had Hannah Sue, we had Lynn Symansky. We're going to talk about some FEI stuff, but first, let's talk about Lucinda and how you feel about her techniques and what you really like about having her here in the United States and offering her such great intuition and knowledge to us.
Lucinda is a legend, of course, and she's always been one that I've looked up to since I was a little kid. And I feel like we're kindred spirits that way, especially in cross country. I really feel like, in talking to her, I always have her kind of voice in my head with position and the idea, the mentality behind it, how the horses are thinking, how they're reading, and then in training them, kind of training for those difficult lines and stuff like that. I always really enjoy, and I enjoy being pushed by her, and I think she is an asset for us to kind of still have those roots deep in eventing and kind of getting down to back to basics, really, in training our horses and making sure there's those solid foundations for them when you can go up the levels.
Yeah, I mean, I will say you definitely have some Lucinda in you, because when I watch you come over here on your own to cross country school, I've learned I have to make sure everything is very clear and look for every possible line that could maybe be there, and then make sure that it's set to be safe for that, because I've watched you where I'm like, wait, what? No. Whoa! And
she still
you jump
finds
it,
a
and you
line.
still find stuff. I'm like, I didn't even know that was there. Yeah. which is great. Yeah. It's very cool to see. But I remember one time through the sunken road, you were jumping the skinny and then diagonally across the bank, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I did probably a no-no, as Lucinda said about jumping it diagonally across the bank, but the line was there.
Yeah, no, you rode it great. But anyway, yeah, for sure, good job.
And I think to people listening, diagonal across the bank, the reason that Lucinda talks about that, and then she said that might be old-fashioned now, but diagonal across the bank means that your one horse's leg could miss a plateau and not make it up there.
I do know I was always taught as a kid, you never angle banks or ditches.
Right. And there have been times in competitions where we absolutely have to, and I hate that as well, because I'm probably like, my least favorite is jumping an up bank. But
yeah.
So what horses did you bring for Lucinda?
So I have 3 here. I have my Rincom Corsair horse, who is she actually helped me find, which is always exciting for her to see him, as I've had him in.
That was really funny because she didn't recognize him.
I know. Well, I've worked really hard at kind of changing his body and getting him fit, and then I have Tullymurray Fifi, who is my little feral bunny rabbit. So I like to have Lucinda help me kind of pick her apart a little bit, and I always need help with her. Yep. And then my recent new horse, which is Lissavora Quality, a really exciting mare that actually Lucinda's daughter Lissa helped. She sourced for me, so I think that's a really exciting horse, and it's always great to have, eyes on the ground, and again, just building those foundations to really educate our horses.
Cool. Yeah, no, it's been fun to watch them all. They're super horses, and it's exciting to see.
The story, and we see Lucinda walking back up here now. So the story about Rincom Corsair was, we were in England last year, and we liked them. We got them. We were going to look at them, and then all of a sudden there's some kind of debate about the horse, and so we canceled the cross country school. And then
because I was like, no, just get Fifi, just the mare.
Yeah, and then Lucinda calls up and goes, well, maybe we're wrong. Maybe we should see that horse. Lucinda, you can come over here and come sit next to Elisa. We were talking about Rincom Corsair.
Yeah, when we went to go look at him again.
Look at him last year.
Right. You have to give her the mic.
That's a good story. I'm taking full credit for that.
So what happened after Lucinda called us is we went and rescheduled to look at the horse. We took a nice road trip, which a lot of people got car sick for some reason. And we got there, and the horse, was brilliant. They went out in the pasture and did stuff, and y'all take it over.
Remember that really interesting line where I about ran you over?
I do. But it was something about the video. I think you showed me the video before you came over, because you'd seen it on HorseQuest, and I didn't think much of it. And then I think you showed me the video when we were in some little cafe having lunch of you trying him. And I said, aren't you going back to see this horse? And you said no. And I don't know what it was that just made me say, I think you should. So we all set off and went back. And I don't think you had any doubt once you rode him a second time.
No, no doubt there after the second time, for sure.
Good job, team.
Yeah.
You've done okay with him so far.
Yeah, I think so far.
So Lucinda, now that we have Elisa here, we're going to move into the flag rule.
Oh God.
Because she is what do you feel about 7? We talked about it a little bit, just to end our segment in the show. What's your position as a rider?
Face is getting angry already.
About 7? So what the concept is we make cross country more influential. So how do you do that? Do you make it 1 point for every second over now and not 0.4? Do you add points?
I can see that. I understand that better.
Do you add 7 to a flag?
No.
Okay. So why don't you like that?
Because okay. First of all, the flags are designed to fall down. So I just feel like we're talking about training your horses for minuscule lines here, and I just feel like I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that penalty, because that means I would have 7 for holding my line and fighting for that and getting inside of it, even though what am I going to have to do now? Like swing my leg up over my head to miss the flag? I will do that. Then I will do that. And then you're going to have people doing crazy things and falling off.
So,
your point.
So let's first go to a place where we say, right, there's going to be a standard way that every flag is attached at the competition. So they're all attached the same.
So you're asking organizers to spend more money?
No. It could be a zip tie, as long as they're all zip tied. And it's the same for every competitor. So we'll have that. Let's just say that that's
Round one.
one of the standards. Then I'll give you the same scenario I gave Lucinda. So Elisa, you and I are at a competition. We're at the 4-star. We tie for dressage. We go out on cross country. Let's say it's a 4 short. So we go show jump. We both show jump clear. We both finish on optimum time.
No, you don't.
Let's just say we do. This is for
you
argument's
do.
sake. So now I go out cross country and there's 5 corners on course. I hit every single flag
As
on
long
the
as you
corners.
stayed inside your line.
You jump them all perfectly clean. You don't think that
No,
your
I was
round
not
is a
raised
better
that
round?
way. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm
No.
telling you that I think.
If you take down 5 flags, but you're inside the dang flag, you're good on you.
So then how do you decide who's the better
You
ride?
look at your optimum time because there's no way.
It could happen.
I think the biggest thing that nobody's mentioned is making
if
it.
that happens, it's like 1/1,000,000th of a chance that that's
Okay,
going
all right.
to happen.
Let's hear what your dad has to say.
So I don't even think this has been brought up. Why don't we increase the value of being a second over? I don't understand why it hasn't been a discussion.
Yeah.
Making more time penalties.
Yeah.
That's
no, I mean,
easy.
it's certainly
It's
something
why
worth discussing.
but my question to you, being on some of these committees,
I'm not the decider, but
I'm
anyway, go ahead.
not a decider, but you are an
Influencer, I think.
influencer.
Like a social
Why
media
wouldn't we
influencer.
start talking about optimum time being more influential?
I think it's certainly an interesting conversation to have. I would say that I think it would
It's
be.
an easy one to have.
I think my opinion would be, without having had that conversation, that it would be a very difficult conversation to have with a lot of European representatives for the FEI. I think that they would be very uncomfortable saying that essentially what you're talking about at the top level is faster is better.
Like, can I go back to
Yeah.
the flag thing? Do you think people would like change the way they're going to ride to a certain fence because they want to make sure they get
No, I
inside
do
the
think
flag?
one of
Because
the-
if I'm coming down to a big old hairy like corner and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to stay inside the flag. Slow down.
Well, maybe
and
you
then
could just ride better.
then we like eat it because I'm more but it's I'm not going to. Of course I ride better.
Why are you giving that look? So, what I would say is this: one of the things they're talking about, that if that came into effect, one of the first things they would need to look at is what should the minimum jumpable width of a fence be of the face, and does that need to be made wider? And I think that is a very real part of the conversation that needs to happen
When you're-
before.
When you're jumping a right angle corner, you have to be within 2 feet of the apex, otherwise it becomes a little bit too wide. And they're nearly all, even in 2-star now, I've seen in Europe, right angle corners. You are going to hug that damn flag. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure it's a way I want to be judged on whether I'm better than you or you.
So can I go back to, I hear you on the flags. So let's go back to Europeans being uncomfortable in the FEI about speed.
Well, that was a bit of a generalization.
I know,
but yes.
I gotcha. I understood it, but it would
Not all Europeans.
It would not be a rule other than from the 2-star up, right?
It would be an FEI rule.
An FEI rule.
So it would be 1 star. up.
1 star up. Right now, I mean, I don't think it increases the speed of people, because right now we want to make time.
Yeah.
So I would say this. I think, and this would be the last piece that I personally would leave this with, my firm belief for eventing as a sport is, as long as we want to continue to fight for the Olympics, and as long as we want to continue to fight for more publicity for our sport, we are going to be forced into making changes like this, because we are going to have more social pressure to be putting out a good picture to the general public so that we don't get shut down.
think you're a
You
totally
you
fine
agree or
picture with
disagree
taking down
whether or not you
flags.
want to do that.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is that is the way the international governing body is going to look at it, and that is a very real consequence of saying we must stay in the Olympics and we must make this a top sport
And
for
Lucinda
spectators.
and this is going to your question of what's going to happen to our sport. And I think I made the thing is then we have a championship horse and we have a 5-star horse. We have 2 different type horses.
I could blow your mind right now.
Yeah, I know you could. But here I am on social media driving our sport. I think it's the mistake we've made since the beginning of time, because we tried to make our sport more publicly known, and we made changes because of that. And now we're going to try to make changes because it's publicly known, and we're trying to make it something different again. So again, we're going down the same rabbit hole that we did 25 years ago when we wanted to be seen in the public. And how do we do that? And now we're there, and now we're going to go, wait a minute, we got to change it again to be in the public and be seen as good.
Absolutely.
I want one last word on this. I think staying in the Olympics, whilst financially it's going to be a benefit for nearly every country, is not a good thing for our sport.
100%.
Because I feel we are being scrutinized worldwide, and we have, as you said 25 years ago, been looking for worldwide cover. Now it's turned on us. We don't want it anymore. And I understand the implications of sponsorship. If you're not worldwide, I understand all that. But I do think our sport has been taken away from us, and many other sports in the Olympics have been too. And it's been to fit the box in the Olympics, less people in the hockey team, no horses in the pentathlon, etc., etc. Let's move on from the Olympics. We're not a sport of the people. We are elitist. When I was in Tokyo, there was billions, not millions, billions of pounds worth of horses there in those three disciplines. It is no longer a true Olympic sport. And I know this is against the grain, but I feel the big future is on our own, which is financially not going to be easy.
You and I are on the same page. I would say this, just to sort of support what you just said. I believe that we have a decision that we actually have probably already made, whether we like it or not, between do we want to have Olympic level competitions or do we want to have 5 stars? And I think we very clearly have already chosen the Olympics. And I, just my own gut feeling, think that within the next 10 years, 5 stars as we know them will no longer be.
Well, that's why I want that to not happen.
I agree. But I hope that we can figure out a way to keep them both going, and I think we're trying. But I just think the way the sport is heading, I think we've already probably made that choice, which is very sad.
And I will close by saying what I think is a very sensible thing from Giuseppe Della Cesa, who designed many courses, badminton included at times, and the World Games. And he said, it needs to be like Ironman. You need to have a competition that the whole world can take part in, because the whole world isn't capable really of doing 5-star cross country. And then you need to have your super Ironman, and that's your 5-star. But we need to keep something to aim for. We don't want to ameliorate it and bring it down to the lowest common denominator. We need to keep our 5 stars.
And I think Lucinda, being the great Lucinda Green, has capped it off for our show. And I think we're going to leave her wise words for y'all to ponder. So thanks for being on the show. And this has been great.
It's been awesome. Back to work.
Yeah, I need to ride.
We have an awesome show for you guys today.
The greatest eventer of all time.
Good news for the sport.